Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be going over my August wrap-up. August was a slower reading month for me, and I was in debate about just waiting and maybe combining this month and the next month together for a wrap-up, but I picked up the pace a little at the end, so I'm just gonna go ahead and post this and get it over with. So this month, I don't think I started reading until like the 18th. It was definitely a slow reading month. So the first book that I read this month was an ARC, and I read Hideaway Heart by Melanie Harlow. And this is the second book in her Cherry Tree Harbor series. I'm trying to get this thing to focus. So this is the second book in the series. The first one, which I read last month, was Runaway Love. This one was Xander and Kelly's book, and Xander is the brother from the first book, and then Kelly, she is a country music star. Xander was an ex-SEAL, and now he is kind of trying to open his own bar, but he does do kind of bodyguard-ish jobs for old friends and stuff like that. So his buddy calls him up and asks him if he can basically bodyguard and take care of his sister, and this guy's sister ends up being a country music legend who is Kelly. I don't remember what her stage name was, but it's something else. She doesn't go by Kelly as her music name. So this makes this a forced proximity, vacationing in Cherry Tree Harbor, so he has to basically stay in the same house with her, so it's forced proximity. And it's kind of a little bit of enemies to lovers. I don't want to say enemies, more like dislike. I think the first one in the series I rated a 4. This one I did give 5 stars. I really, really, really loved this one. This one was definitely it for me. There was a lot of banter back and forth, and they were both kind of sarcastic and witty, and I really enjoyed that. Those are aspects of characters that I really, really enjoy. And I just felt like they meshed together really, really well. That was the start of this month. Then after reading that, I picked up Unravel Me by Becca Mack. This is the third book in the Playing for Keeps series. This was Adam and Rosie's book. Adam is if you've read any from the series, he's in that friend group, and he is the goalie for the Vancouver team. And then he meets Rosie. Rosie is a veterinarian. I did tab this one because the other two in the series I have tabbed. I did really enjoy this book, although it did take me a little bit to get through, but I think that was just because I was struggling with reading this month. Adam definitely gives off DILF vibes, and he was the perfect little dad. He was the perfect little dad to Connor. It was so cute. I don't remember if I explained or not, but Connor was Rosie's son. I did give this one 4 stars. This wasn't my favorite of the series. I still really like Garrett and Jenny's book, which is the second book in the series. But I did really enjoy reading this, and I really love that, I feel like in the first 2 books, you get the typical Playboy-ish trope, whatever. And then in this one, you get Adam, who is really just a sweet, nice guy. And I enjoyed that a lot. In this book, Adam kind of helps Rosie build up her confidence and feel more secure in herself, because she is coming off of not being in a relationship for a while, and the baby daddy isn't exactly great in this book. So I did really love it and enjoyed it for that. And I think it was just such a different dynamic from the first 2 books, so it was really nice. But I definitely do recommend this series and this book. It is all a hit for me. So then I felt like I was kind of getting back into reading a little more. I still wasn't completely interested in it, but I was feeling better about it, and I was wanting to read more. So next I picked up Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. This is the second book in the Brutal Birthright series. The first one in the series is called Brutal Prince, I believe, and I really enjoyed that one. I gave that one 5 stars. And that one is definitely more enemies to lover, not hardcore, but I don't know. They are definitely more sarcastic and give each other crap in that book and stuff like that. That is more of what I like in books. So this is Nessa and Miko's book. Nessa is Nessa Griffin. She is from the Griffin family, which was mentioned in the first book. It is I believe they're a mafia family. And Miko is in the Russian mafia, and he is trying to get revenge for his family. So he basically kidnaps Nessa, and that is his way of getting revenge against the Griffins and the Gallows. And as she's kidnapped, she finds out that maybe Miko isn't as bad as he seems. It's more of he has a soft spot for her because, you know, he is still in the mafia and stuff like that, but it was a okay read. I did enjoy it, and I think it did help get me out of my like reading funk that I was in. But at the point where it like switched over from them disliking each other and her being kidnapped to the point of, oh well, I like him, he likes me, like let's give this a shot. It was just like a flip of a switch. I didn't really understand that. And it was a little, I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite. And since I did still enjoy it, and I enjoyed like different aspects of it, like I really enjoyed seeing her family come together, and there's a twist at the end that happens, and I enjoyed seeing that side of Miko. But like the romance itself, I didn't really see the connection that much. So for me, this was just a 3-star book. I did enjoy it, and I'm still going to continue on with the series. But this just wasn't my favorite from it. Next up, I do have another ARC read. I read First Impressions of You by Gabriel Guedes. Oh my god, me and this thing. So this was her debut novel, and I think for it being a debut novel, it was really, really good and well done. There was so much potential in it, and I enjoyed the story portion of it. So it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, enemies to lovers, and then it is set in like a theater play at I want to say an amusement park, but I don't know if that's right. It's some type of park though. So you had Louisa and Winter, and Louisa is from, I believe, Portugal. Louisa is, I believe this is set in the US, but she is basically trying to follow her dreams and get a job performing. And once she's able to get a job performing and stuff like that, she'll hopefully be able to find a company that is able to sponsor her visa. She ends up trying out for this show that she ends up trying out for the show that the park that she works at is doing. Right before this show, she meets Winter, and she doesn't know it, but Winter is actually a big star, and they kind of have a rough first interaction. But he's already cast in the show. She doesn't know it yet. Once Louisa scores that job, they have to work together and interact all the time, and they kind of get on each other's nerves. I will say Louisa was kind of a hothead, and I didn't really understand why she was so angry all the time. And it wasn't just at like Winter, because I understand some of the things that he would say, how they were interpreted and stuff like that. It could be like understood wrong, but like her family and stuff like that, and just when she was having a bad day, she kind of take it out on everyone. So I didn't really like that portion of it. I thought that was a little much because it was kind of making it hard for me to root for her as a character. I did like Winter, but I think the communication between them two, like it could have just been solved so much easier than it was. I did enjoy it though. I liked some of the banter that was in it. I did like them as a combo once they got together, and I thought like the back and forth between them and everything was really cool, and that got my interest a little. Overall, it was enjoyable, but there were just a couple parts that I didn't really like love, so I did give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Once again, for this being like her debut novel and everything, I thought it was really good, really well written, and I think there was a lot of potential there. And the last and final book that I read this month was She Was Made for Me by Jen Morris. This was also another ARC. There is the cover. I really hope this focuses. I loved this book. I devoured it in one day. This is age gap, forced proximity, and kind of like forbidden romance. So it is her dad's best friend. I'm usually a little cautious with age gap romances just because a lot of them start with one person in their teens, and I don't like that. Which luckily for this, so we have Violet and Kyle. Violet was 25 and Kyle was 43. So that I'm on board with. All for it. I can get on board with this totally. And I loved every minute of it. They were such a fun pairing, and Violet was just so sassy and sarcastic, and both of them with the comebacks were like spot on. And it wasn't all like smut or spice or any of that. Like, there's obviously smut and spice in it, but it wasn't just like a lust attraction. You could definitely tell, like, there were parts where it was made clear that like they have similar interests. They kind of help, I don't want to say complete each other, but they know what each other likes and they'll go out of their way to help and stuff like that. And I think they just mesh so well together. This was such a good read for me. And this really started my kick back into reading, because now I have been like non-stop reading since that book. And I did give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. There's one takeaway, one book that you need to read from this video. I would say it's this one. So please, if you read anything, do this one. It's so good. So I read 5 books total this month, which honestly, for reading starting on the 18th, that's not bad at all. I'll take it. Unfortunately for my TBR count, I did read a lot of arcs. So my physical TBR actually ended up going up. I didn't break my book ban, even though my physical TBR went up. I had a pre-order come in for signed books. That was 4 books. And then I bought a book for book club, which I didn't read in this month because book club got postponed, so I figured I had more time to read. So I pushed it back. But I did buy a book for book club. So I bought 5. And technically off of my physical TBR, I read 2. So it was originally $3.77. I read 2. I bought 5. So I think I'm at $3.80. And I haven't added any of the books that are like in this room, besides the ones I did move a couple that were in the like living room area, which I've shown those books. I did move a couple in here, so those are technically on my TBR. But any of the ones that weren't counted before, I have not added them to the total. So I don't want to know that number. We're just going to live in ignorance for a little bit. But the new total is $3.80, and so I have pushed my book buying ban till the end of September. Actually timed it out really well because at the end of September there is a adult book fair happening near me. So I want to be able to go to that and buy a book. So I'm ending it on that day. And I think I'm only going to allow myself to buy maybe 2 to 5 books. And then once I hit that cap, like not just at the fair, but like total, like seasonal books and stuff, I think not going to buy any more until maybe like December. Because December is my birthday and Christmas and more holiday reads, so I do want to buy a couple Christmas books. So I figure I can do the Christmas books at the beginning of December. If you've made it this far and through this whole video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!